Hi guys, today I want to talk to you a little bit about cinnamon, or sorry, cayenne, and a number of other things. But mainly I want to talk about cayenne and its ability to really help people who are going through COVID-19 at various stages. You know, I would recommend anyone who has it at any stage to be taking cayenne capsule form every day. Especially, of course, especially if you had a severe lung, cytokine storms, and if you survived the cytokine storms like I did. So I had the worst case scenario where with it generally has like a 40% mortality rate, or so. I had the cytokine storms. I went through the worst of it. I survived it. Various techniques. If you see my other videos, you'll learn how and what I did to do that. And one of the things I found is after I ended up having these storms, I've been plagued with long-term issues in the lungs and kidneys and even to some degree feels like my heart, or at least the vascular system around the heart area, and also the cerebral vascular system, the back of my head. I was plagued with headaches, tense, tenseness. Uh, it originated and it started, it felt like in the mid back area, and it slowly rose up and then eventually hit this one spot in the back of my head. And then I'd get throbbing, and whatnot in either side of the back of my head whenever I had stood up too quickly or bent over or singing or doing anything, or I'm like changing the blood pressure, like jogging, whatever. Uh, so I found, this long-term cerebral vascular issues, those are fading, and all of it is fading, very slowly fading. And what I've learned what it all is now. I've learned and figured out what it all is. And if you just please and always check the description, check the links. There's always really good information in there, and I always choose like the most pertinent and accurate and interesting and informative links that I've come across on the internet. And it basically will bring you to the cutting edge of what we're learning about this virus by and large. And so yeah, I've been learning a little bit about what's happening here now. Doing a bit of research online, you'll find that um, the virus is by and large attacking people who have, um, or the people who have it the worst, are people who have pre-existing vascular issues, heart disease, diabetes mainly. That's the main one. And that interferes with a number of processes that have to do with your antioxidants like glutathione and whatnot. And if that's compromised, then a person's already much more susceptible to the dangers that come with this. If you watch the MedCram videos in the description, you'll learn the ins and outs of all of that. Very beautiful details, and you'll understand it much more clearly than you will me. I'm not a doctor. These guys are, and they have credible insight and information on how all that works. So please watch those videos. But I'll sum it up and I'll explain to you what basically is going on here. And, what it seems to be is this: ACE1 receptors. Okay, they produce coagulation factors for the blood in order to regulate the thickness of the blood for God knows, there's so many factors involved in our system, but basically to control the coagulation. ACE2 receptors, they produce and work in tandem and sort of as a counterpoint to ACE1, and they release anticoagulative uh, factors into the blood. So they help to balance out what ACE2 is doing. So without ACE2, your blood would become so thick it wouldn't function, just like jello in your bloodstream, and ACE1 would just keep on producing these factors, and it's autonomic. It doesn't, I guess it may to some degree adapt and learn over time, but that, when you hit so hard so quickly, what happens, your body just doesn't shut that off, that doesn't stop, so your ACE2 end up getting infected by this virus. They lock into the receptor. The virus then loses its outer sheath, The lipid is dissolved, the RNA goes in, hijacks the cell. The cell then is disabled and it doesn't function as it should. It's no longer producing these anticoagulation factors in the various areas in the body. Well, those I believe are most concentrated in the lung, and obviously wherever ACE2 is in the body, it's found in various compartments in the brain. It is found in the lung, it's found in the heart, it's found in the small intestine, and I think in the kidneys as well. And that's where the only place where this virus can replicate. So it latches in there, gets in there, disables the ACE2 ability to produce these anticoagulative factors, whereas ACE1 is still doing what it usually does anyway. And so then the blood gets really thick to the point where in the hospitals they're going through, they were for a time anyway, they were going through um, the what do they call those machines? Dialysis machines, kidney dialysis machines, faster than they were going through ventilators, because the dialysis machines were clogging up with human blood. And it turns out that's the #1 threat people face when they have this virus. It's not the lung issue so much, or even pneumonia so much, unless you get a secondary bacterial infection in the lung. What it is, it's the vascular based issues that can take place because of the virus. So the virus is messing with our coagulation factors, causing blood to thicken in different areas. I think it's isolated. I can tell it is because in my lung every morning when I wake up, right now, day 73, by the way, I woke up this morning, my lung is like, I feel knots and density in my lung. If I take a big deep breath, always first thing in the morning. Okay, so I sat there for a while and I'm doing various mudras and things to find out which one seems to work, and I did find a couple of them. This one is already well known for hearts and vascular issues, blood clots. This can stop a heart attack, brain stroke, and all that. I tried a variation of that, this one here, and this one, interestingly, so I have the finger right here on the base of the thumb. Then I bring this over. I laid there for 10 minutes like this, and yeah, sure enough, I started feeling waves and waves of this tensity in the lung going away. This helps to stop coagulation. It helps to heal the vascular system. This already on its own is for healing organs and tissues in the body, and that, it'll help speed up the healing of the ACE2 receptors. This is for blood, and as the thumb goes over it, this is fire, if you understand Ayurveda, and it speeds up the healing of the blood, and this sort of just works synergistically. It works much better than not. This is another one that really helped me as well. I sat there for, this finger represents air, by the way, okay? And not just represents, it's deeply connected to that aspect of our physiology, and gas, the various gases that flow through the body. And when you cover your thumb over top of that finger, you sit there for a few minutes, you certainly will notice, your lungs starting to open up, more oxygen able to get in, just freer air in the body. I sat there, I did those, I noticed an improvement, okay? Then I got out of bed, I got up, immediately went to the fridge, I took an NAC, which is one thing that the doctors and many people recommend, which is a precursor to glutathione. Took that NAC, the NAC immediately cleared up, started clearing up some of these problems, because there's two things that go on when we have this ACE2 receptor disabled, okay? So we have this coagulation problem, and at the same time it causes free radical issues as well. It causes oxidative stress in the vascular system, right in the bloodstream. And so anything that can really significantly reduce the oxidative stress, be it vitamin C, NAC, glutathione, any kind of antioxidant. I'd recommend cinnamon, cloves, and cocoa. Those three are some of the most powerful in the world. Those are amazingly powerful. NAC, I took that anyway. This morning, I waited a few minutes. Sure enough, suddenly a lot of this problem in my lungs started going away. I then followed up with some cayenne pepper, and that's the main topic of this video. I wanted to, or at least name the video after anyway. It's very important, cayenne pepper. This is one of the world's most powerful anti-coagulation treatments you can get in nature, from nature. It's also anti-blood clot, anti-heart attack. There's a lot of people out there you'll find online check in the description that recommend if you're having a heart attack, immediately the first thing you should go for, they say, is go to your cupboard, get your cayenne, stuff it under your tongue, and hold it there. Well, I started taking this cayenne about almost 2 weeks ago, day 60 maybe, and I just thought, why not give it a shot? I had this old cayenne that was sitting there for like 6, 7 years that I hadn't touched in ages, and I'm like, well, I know there's some medicinal qualities to this. Often there is with many things sitting in our cupboards that we're not even, that's just gathering dust, and we're not even thinking about. Why don't I give it a shot? So I thought, okay, let's give it a try. I took some cayenne, I stuffed it into these capsules, and this cayenne is ancient, old, is like way expired. Stuffed it into capsules, took 2 of them, and within 15 minutes, suddenly, I started feeling my lungs, like very, very, very tactilely. I felt my lungs, the blood vessels in them, opening up. I felt this clearing and opening and relaxing, and it was like burning out all of these clogs going on inside my lungs in the blood vessels there. And it was so tactile and it was so powerful. It literally blew me away. And I've been taking blood thinners like Advil and NAC, not NAC, yeah, like plenty of garlic and other foods that, ginger and things like that, that do tend to help with that. But I never tried cayenne. I've been avoiding spice for years. I haven't had any kind of heavy spice like cayenne for maybe 4 or 5 years. And I decided finally to give it a shot, and it blew me away. It really blew me away. I could feel it, and it went through and it cleared out my lungs in a huge way. And it's an amazing thing because it's burning all this stuff out. It's relaxing the constriction of the blood vessels. It's thinning the blood, and it's capsaicin seems to be really targeting these problem areas. You can feel it. You will feel it if you've had the virus and you're having vascular related problems. You will feel the capsaicin going through you, and it's a very cooling sort of feeling, kind of like almost brain freeze style. First time you do it, if you've had a cytokine storm, near death experience, and you have all this blood clotting in your lung, yeah, you're gonna feel it go through you, and you're gonna feel it clearing out those blockages. I feel it every morning. Well, that shows me that my ACE2 receptors are still healing or damaged, or there might be scar tissue or other issues there. I'm not sure which. I think smoking increases ACE2 receptors, so that might actually be, maybe, at one point or another for a little while. I don't know. A wise thing. I don't know. There's probably natural ways to do it. I'm going to try to avoid that. I'm going to try to avoid smoking to try and get that. But you do the research and you'll find vaping, smoking apparently increases ACE2 receptors. Well, maybe that's a good thing in this case. But well, that shows you that the body can adapt and grow them and grow more. So, I mean, either way, it's going to come back. It'll heal over time. I think focus and positive intention and knowing and trusting the body, it'll play a huge role in that as well. And in your body's ability to create antibodies, which exists, according to German scientists just today, learn that German scientists find antibodies that block coronavirus. They found 650 of them. 750 that dock with the coronavirus and prevent it from spreading. Okay, and they're going through testing, and it's looking very, very promising. So there's good news on that front, and I don't have to worry about that because I already have my own antibodies. I already have this virus. I'm just got to heal and make sure I get my ACE2 and all that working properly. And anyway, so this cayenne, I started taking it. It cleared up my lungs. I noticed on day 1, okay, it really cleared up the lungs, like really powerfully. I could feel it in a tactile way. Day 2, first thing in the morning, I take some of that. I didn't really feel much. It wasn't really heavy. Okay, it was kind of, I didn't feel much of anything. Day 3, I did it again, first thing in the morning. Boom, it hit me hard in the lung. So it showed me that this is sort of it's a dynamic thing. That you need, people should be persistent with. I've gone. This bag was almost full. There was like a pound in here. It was up to here, and it was full, totally full. And I've gone through like a pound of this stuff almost in the last 2 weeks or less. Um, and I can tell it's helping, and it's clearing out the lung. It's really does help, along with breathing. Wim Hof. Now I know you don't. Please try not to roll your eyes when you hear this, because I know we hear so many things, and there's so much information. It's easy to overlook these little things, simple things like mudras, even, or breathing, as being a very effective and helpful thing. Well, if you look up Wim Hof, who's broken 22 world records, Guinness Book of World Records, he climbed Mount Everest in his shorts. Uh, he ran a marathon in the Arctic with his bare feet. He, he broke a Guinness Book of World Record for running in the desert without any water. They injected him with viral, some kind of poison or bacterial virus or bacteria directly into his vein, and he controlled his autonomic nervous system and kept it from having a cytokine overreaction. And that's, and he learned how to do all this through breathing technique. And the breathing technique he teaches right there on his website and right there on his YouTube page. Check the link and you'll see that I'll link in the description a direct link to the actual breathing technique that is required in order to accomplish that. It's all there. It's all public, and the main one for the immune system is the breathing, according to the scientists who looked that up. And I'll link that in the description so you can see that as well. Okay. So this breathing technique can also help the body to overcome if you're having a cytokine storm, or even if you're just getting the first symptoms of the virus. Okay, just like or any virus or any flu, it doesn't matter what it is. As soon as you do these breathing techniques, it boosts your immune system. Your body starts producing adrenaline, and it modulates your immunity, and your body becomes much more able to fight things off. If you're aware of what's going on, you can really focus your intention on healing that too, and become the master of your autonomic system. Very intuitively and very simply, just trusting yourself and following your heart. So please look into that. That's another one I found, especially while doing mudras. So you do like a mudra. Do like here's a great one. Try this one. So you curl your fingers in, curl your finger, press that into the base of the thumb there. That. So you're like this, right? And then try this. Do this with me right now. And then bring this finger down and get the thumb right on top of it like that. So you're like high as you can get on that finger, high as you can get, like that. This is the lung. This is the air. The finger, I should say. This is the lung in the air right here. This is fire, and this helps to cleanse and burn. This is earth. This is the earth. This has to do with healing the physical body. Particular. If you're doing this breathing technique while holding this mudra, you'll probably, and if you have this virus, you'll probably notice incredible amount of energy flowing through your fingers. You'll probably start noticing tingling sensation, numbness, especially if you have your arms as wide as you can put them. You just hold those arms out. Try different positions with the mudras as well. Tilt your hands down like this, holding the same mudra. Okay? Turn your arms in different directions. You can't really see what I'm doing up there. Hold your arms out in front of you with your hands facing down like that. Try different positions while doing that Wim Hof breathing technique. Trust me on that. This guy didn't become the Iceman and his so-called superhuman for nothing. He learned all this stuff, and he is sharing with you exactly what he is doing. And anyone can reproduce it, and they have. So, and I've been doing it. It works. So, these mudras really will help you in the process. I find this one is absolutely mind-blowing. Do this for 10 minutes. Do the full breathing thing. And once you're done the 10-minute breathing session, go on to this one. Put your thumb over top as high up as you can on your index finger and hold that. If you start noticing itching right there, wow, that means your lungs are going to be healing very rapidly, and you'll notice synergistic effect between these two. These two I found incredible for the lung. Okay, that you hold that after, your lungs will clear right up, and you're gonna feel like nothing is wrong with you. Although for me, I find it goes in waves. Every day I have to, do it over and over again and just keep working my way up till I'm healed. Um, so yeah, uh, Cayenne, I didn't even know anything about it until I started, took it, and then I started researching after I had noticed its effects. I'm like, okay, I could tell it was doing something to my lung. Well, what exactly is it doing? So I started looking around, and sure enough, um, okay, yeah, here it is, Cayenne Miracle Medicine. I'll show this. Cayenne capsaicin in particular regulates blood pressure, strengthens the pulse, feeds the heart, lowers cholesterol, thins the blood, cleans the circulatory system, heals ulcers, slows hemorrhaging, speeds up healing of wounds, and that's the other thing. It felt like it was clearing out my lungs. It felt like it was clearing out the dead tissue and burning it all away. Okay? Rebuilds damaged tissue, eases congestion, aids digestion, regulates elimination, relieves arthritis, prevents infection, numb pains, and more. Oh my gosh, this stuff blew me away. If I were allowed only one emergency herbal medicine, it would be cayenne tincture because it stimulates circulation throughout the entire body. Okay, wow. Well, that's the main thing that people are dying from because of this virus. Okay, people are dying from a lack of the body's ability to circulate blood. So the body is no longer able to circulate. Um, it helps the capillaries, veins, arteries to regain their elasticity of youth. And that's true. There was an older lady in this town here who was in her 80s, 90s, and she had vascular problems, very, very high blood pressure, and a lot of LD, or whatever, not LD, I can't remember exactly the type of cholesterol, but she had a high cholesterol levels, and she started taking this um, local medicine that a person was making here in this town I'm living in. Well, it was a herbal tincture, and one of the main ingredients was cayenne. And she went to the doctor, and the doctor told her after a couple of months that we were on this that her veins look like she has the level of cholesterol as a 14-year-old. Well, okay, there it is. And I think it was a few other factors, like maybe even her elasticity in her blood vessels. I don't know. But she said her basically what it's saying here, elasticity of youth. Okay. So, moreover, when the venous structure becomes filled with mucus, the blood thickens. That's exactly what happens in this virus, and has a hard time circulating. Well, cayenne moves blood like no other herb. The tincture should be in everyone's medicine cabinet. In fact, any holistic health advisor or practicing neuropath should have cayenne as a major component of many of their healing protocols. So I mean, that's good stuff. So while cayenne is amazing by itself, when combined with another herb, the results are worth more than the sum of its parts. So make sure you add this into your arsenal. Uh, it because it will help with every other thing, and it worked for me. And I learned from experience before I even knew about cayenne's health benefits. I just started taking it. I was told by a teacher not to do it years ago, and in one of his videos he was saying Kundalini people should awaken people should not touch. Don't you touch any spice. Spice is bad for you. So for 5, 6 years, I hadn't had spice until now, and it basically saved my life. And I realized it was kind of foolish of me that there was something wrong with eating this. So I mean that I debunked that. Maybe there is a certain stage of the Kundalini awakening where that might be a necessity, but in my circumstance, I find at this point this is actually very, very helpful. So I'm going through this stuff like it's out of style. I'll probably go through a pound every 3 weeks or more even for the next foreseeable future until all of the coagulation issues are rectified and my ACE2 receptors begin producing the anticoagulative factors that are necessary in order to function properly. Um, and uh, and once that is is all healed up, then there's no need for any third-party sources. But please, I want you to go and check out the links in the description, check out the other videos, see Medicram and all these other things, and learn the ins and outs, because knowledge is power, and the more you understand about this stuff, the more you can share and help yourself and other people survive this. This virus, like during the Spanish flu in 1918, there was multiple waves of this virus that came. There's three waves ultimately. First wave came in March of 1918. It was very mild, but a very, very contagious flu virus, or virus that was very similar to the flu. Very, very similar to the flu. We're seeing the exact, like basically the exact same scenarios here, although there was a war going on time. So, I mean, that was the only difference. They had a hard time forcing any kind of isolation until after the war was over. And then once the war was over, they started and enforcing isolation. But basically, it happened in March. It was really heavy. Sorry, it was very light virus. It was just like influenza, like we see now. Then they had a second wave that came during the first winter. December was possibly the worst month of it. And it was during the fall winter season that it really hit people, and it started, they said, killing healthy normal people who were middle aged, between 20 and 40 years old, and they were getting cytokine storms. Okay, so this is the same thing basically. That might have been a coronavirus for all we know. It probably was a coronavirus, because very, very, very eerily similar effects. Okay, so this, they said the second wave came and obviously probably because of the winter season and snow and the lack of vitamin D, things like that. So you're going to want to make sure you're getting, you have a winter's supply worth of vitamin D, okay, and prepared long before then, so you're not rushing at the last minute. So you want to make sure you're long ahead. That's good for you, and that's good for everyone. Long prepared. So, and then a third wave came during the springtime, and it was far less of an issue than the first two. I think anyone who already had it during the first wave of it will very likely be immune to the second wave, or maybe not, or at least some antibodies able to fend off certain functions. It depends on the mutations and the quantity of mutations, and what mutations, and how those mutations affect the body, and how they evade certain previous immune functionality, which, you know, if you have 650 different antibodies, or 750 different antibodies already, the chances are, any second wave is going to be pretty minuscule. But anyway, it could get really ugly during this winter season, so make sure you really consider everything herein, and really, really sincerely listen carefully to what is written and or spoken here, and check the description, get the links, watch my other videos, check out all my videos, see all my videos that I've mentioned anything to do with this virus, and get yourself prepared so that you have what you need over time. And this is the way to go, because um, to be your own doctor and to follow the advice that you know works, you're gonna survive and you're gonna thrive. If you're taking advice just from like the WHO and other organizations, it's just a joke. They're just I mean, they're the ones who said this virus isn't contagious and that wearing a mask doesn't help, which both are lies, total debunk, total BS. And they were parroting that for a little while during a certain phase of this virus. And it shows, it doesn't matter what group it is. They could be the most intelligent so-called group in the world. They're idiots. Okay, they're just as human as the rest of us, I should say. Rather, like, we all make mistakes. Okay, and they're also very heavily funded by the U.S. government and Bill Gates and other people who don't have our best interest. He might have some kind of interest in sustainable population levels, so that the Earth, Mother Nature, can balance. Which, some level, I can understand that, but he doesn't really want to get there altruistically and with any love in his heart, or in a way that's good and righteous. His idea of doing that is through force and through harm and hurt, and in the worst ways possible. Now, there's really good positive ways of for us to get there, and that is through basically practicing love and respect for nature, for each other, and and believing in that, and having more faith in that than you have faith in anything else. Your faith, it depends on what you have faith in. If you have faith in evil people, then that's where you're going to feel the power lies. Have faith in something greater, then naturally you're going to have a much greater, more powerful belief in the power of love and these other ways and methods of managing and helping this planet to be able to live, for all life to live sustainably and fairly and equitably. And that's the most important way forward. And so, yeah. Anyway, I really just want you to be realize as well and understand too is like it's our attitude that matters most. The most important thing we have is our mind state. Is what we believe, how we believe, our faith. And what you have faith in really will determine the outcome for most of us. And I mean, this thing hit me. I thought I was gonna die. Well, I didn't think I was gonna die. I felt like I was gonna die. Felt it entirely in a physical way. My body was saying, "You're dead." The virus was saying, "I'm bigger than you, and you're toast." It was like being attacked by a grizzly bear, in a way. It felt like physically in the body. It was just like the way the virus latched into my lungs and ripped into my body. It was like it was saying, "I'm bigger than you." But my spirit and my mind and my belief, I didn't fall for that. I didn't fall and believe in the illusion of the body or the illusion of. I believed in the mind. I believed in my heart. I believed in my spirit, and that I was much more capable of fighting this thing than what I was feeling physically. And as soon as I did that, and as soon as I practiced that daily, and this is probably the most important factor out of everything here I've even said today so far, is your attitude and how I believe and what I believe in and how I approach these things. I notice the greatest difference in my immunity and in my body and my overall health and healing when I sit there for a while and I really focus on the power of my body, the power of my immune system, and belief and knowing, and by visualizing the actual act of being healthy and healed and whole and immune, and visualizing healed and healthy lungs, visualizing healthy and healed vascular system and body and every vein and everything as clearly as possible in my mind, completely and utterly as though it's already there, and seeing it as though it's a reality. Then after that is done, it becomes a reality. There's a reason why if you visualize your muscles pumped up and that you're working out, that your muscle mass literally will grow. And scientifically, they can measure a increase of muscle mass over a certain period of time, because the brain is the greatest muscle. And the brain, when you're seeing these things and you're visualizing these things, makes changes in the body's proteins and the way your body functions, and it makes it basically a reality. You can make things change because thought precipitates action in the physical realm, and thought precipitates all changes in our body and our proteins and various functions in the body. That's why our mood is so important. When people get if they have a very poor mind state and they're very mentally, feeling weak, emotionally out of balance, and their immunity gets affected by that, and it can be fairly significant way. So it's important to keep that mind state of, no matter what I'm feeling, no matter what I'm experiencing, no matter what may seem on some level or whatever it's trying to convince me, I am still bigger than this. I'm bigger than anything. I am equal to or greater than anything I come into contact with, any experience I have, any virus that may come my way. I'm able to overcome. I'm able to adapt, and I'm strong, and I'm capable. And then you sit and hold that and visualize in your mind this actual state. Do that while you're doing the Wim Hof breathing, while you're holding your breath, that phase, and during the mudras, the various mudras, visualizing, visualize yourself being totally healed and your lungs totally healthy, and watch how your immune system responds after. I guarantee you're going to feel this boost. You're going to be like, whoa, I feel lighter. I feel healthier. I feel stronger. My immunity is increased. These things have and will have a significant role. And they're there for you no matter what you might have materially or don't have materially. If you don't have vitamins, if you don't have, like, you're living in a third world country and you have very little to rely on, well, it Cayenne's pretty easy for anyone to afford. But I mean, like the rest of this stuff, anyone can do it, and it doesn't matter who you are, and it doesn't matter how rich or poor you are. Anybody can do this equally. It works. And one other thing I'll mention before I wrap up is the use of Himalayan pink salt for certain pains, in particular pains, vascular issues in the back of the head, at the top of the head, in the kidneys, kidney pains, and pains in the lower back. Those four things can be treated very effectively with Himalayan pink salt, topically applied. The best places to do that are in bed. So, what I do is I take my pillow, I take the upper sheet off, I grind my pink salt into a fine powder and apply that around the pillow, and so it's perfect in contact with the areas that I was having vascular problems. And then I put my pink salt lamp right above my head in bed where I sleep, and those negatively charged ions that are released go through and they reduce swelling, and they also help to regulate blood pressure in the vascular system in a very effective and very efficient way. And it just works. I've been using it like this for years, in particular for treating hangovers and myriads of various headaches from different caused by different things like alcohol or um, sitting in a hot steam room, and or any circumstance. Literally, I found Himalayan pink salt to be the best thing to treat that, and it takes minimum 45 minutes for it to kick in. So you need to make sure you're lying there for a while. It's not going to happen instantly, but progressively, especially all night laying there, it helps. Now with the kidneys, what I did is I laid it on top of my bed sheets very carefully. I first laid on my bed. I grabbed something and I slid it and I left it there right beside my phone, like right beside my body, so I knew exactly where my kidneys were. Got up, I sprinkled this pink salt right under my kidneys. I The first night, that's what I did on the upper back, where the kidneys were. The next day, the next morning, I woke up, zero pain. All of my kidney pains were completely, 100% gone, literally. I was pretty shocked, and um, so the other thing I noticed that day was the lower back started hurting, or started being noticeably sore because perhaps the kidneys were covering up pain there in the upper whatever. But the next day, so the next night, I put pink salt underneath the lower back, left it there. Woke up the next morning, all my pain was gone. Then all back pain, all kidney pain, all of it was totally gone. That lasted for a little while, like a day, like 2 or 3 days maybe, before the pain started showing up. Subtler though, like not as intensely, which shows me that this may have something to do with coagulation as well. It has to do with blood flow, vascular constriction, causing pain and different things in the various blood vessels in the mid and lower back. So make sure it can be consistent with it then. You can just every night add a little bit more pink salt. It will exhaust the negatively charged ions after about 2 days, 3 days. So it's good to add more consistently, and it'll work, and it will help to reduce your back pains significantly. So anyway, I think that sums up everything I wanted to share with you in this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. Check out my other videos. Go through the description and watch and look at everything there and confirm what you hear here. And try it out for yourself. Comment below and let others know if and how any of this has worked for you. Thank you so much. I wish you many blessings and much love. You take care and have the most beautiful and amazing pandemic you've ever had.